Woof. Penge is clearly up and coming. Ladies, gents, and beautiful whatevers, please welcome Jonathan Collins!
Yes, my name is Jonathan Collins, which I'm aware is a shit name, which has become increasingly apparent to me since the last act was called Kill Pussy. We just had Kill Pussy next time. Hi, my name's Jonathan. No, that's not my fault, you know. I never chose the name Jonathan Collins. I never wanted to be called Jonathan Collins. Even my parents weren't originally planning on calling me Jonathan Collins. Now, initially they wanted to call me Zalfort, Commander of the Undead! Collins. Because they were expecting a girl. And obviously when my dad found out I was going to be a boy, he wasn't having any of it. It's like, oh, no. We can't call a boy Zalfort, Commander of the Undead. No. That'd just be weird! I mean, if we call our son, Zalfort, Commander of the Undead, just imagine how much he'd get bullied at school. So I kind of dodged a bullet there, I feel, because I can't imagine what it would have been like to have been bullied at school. No, I was, actually, quite badly. I was horrifically bullied at school. Because it might come as a shock to you, ladies and gentlemen, but the pure epitome, the personification of coolness standing in front of you right now wasn't always the coolest cat in the classroom. I picked on quite a lot in school, and I went to one of these schools that says they have a zero-tolerance policy on bullying, which I naively assumed meant we have a zero-tolerance policy on bullying. What it turned out actually meant is we have a zero-tolerance policy on bullying if it ends in suicide or manslaughter. Up until that point, it's fair game. Give me a lunch money, a little trick. But in fairness to the schools aren't very well equipped at dealing with bullying. You know, like, you get a lot of shit advice. So I imagine a lot of you here were bullied at school, and they give you a lot of shit advice. So, yeah, exactly. You don't need to tell me, it's quite obvious. Oh, sorry, that was horrible. No, sorry, ignore that. I'm really nice, I promise. But you get a lot of shit advice when you're bullied at school, don't you?
Totally.
Yeah, you do. Like, everyone's aware of the whole sticks and stones cliche, aren't you? Yeah, where if you're being verbally abused by someone, you're meant to go up to them and go, "Hey, sticks and stones may break my bones, but if you got a knife, that'd be much more efficient." Or even a hammer, that would even mark. Or maybe strobe lights, you can do some epileptic seizure with me. And failing that, squirt shampoo in my eyes, that always sticks. Or you could feed me undercooked chicken, that would probably give me food poisoning. Fuck it, just set me on fire, that wouldn't do anything. Very thanks to my central nervous system. Let's not even talk about napalm. Or if you're really creative, you can like bioengineer a massive Venus flytrap and throw me in it. Then acid will surround me and I'll be all like, I'm melting. But words will never hurt me. Unless those words are directed to a bunch of George R.R. Martin fans, and those words are, do you know Jonathan Collins doesn't like Game of Thrones? In which case I'll probably get lynched. That is the most controversial thing I've ever said on stage. But I didn't mean to say that to everybody, and they meant to go, oh, drat, oh, curses, blast, and fiddlesticks. Because I actually went to a 1950s stereotype British school. Curses, you foiled my plan again, you and your meddling kids. So, I see you are too powerful for my breed of bullying. I will never bully you again. Would you like some ice cream? But it's not the worst advice I've had for being bullied at school. Like, I'm guessing you've had this one as well, you know, where they tell you to ignore the bully until they get bored. Yeah.
I had even worse advice from my father. I was being really badly bullied.
Yeah.
I was really being badly bullied by this boy that kept beating me up.
Yeah.
And I told my dad, and my dad said, oh, it's probably because he likes you.
Oh, God, that's another example of one just like, yeah, let's teach people that being beaten up is a sign of love. Oh, great. What could possibly go wrong? Wonderful. Yeah, no, that's just... And then you get the other one. I I never probably had that one because my dad really didn't want me to be gay. But, you get that one where, like a lot of you probably had this, where you're kind of told that if you ignore the bully, eventually they'll get bored and leave you alone. Yeah. And there's 3 reasons why that's wrong. The first one is it doesn't work. The second one is, did I mention it doesn't work? And the third one is, even if it did work, that's horrible advice to give to somebody at a young age. The best way to deal with your problems is by ignoring them until they go away. Which is how I know for an undeniable fact that David Cameron must have been bullied at school. Because all of his policies are around that ideology. So, Mr. Cameron, you know there's lots of homeless people right now. Do you think maybe we should do something to stop there being so many homeless people? No. You can't just help homeless people. If you help them, they'll enjoy the attention and keep being homeless. If you just ignore them, eventually they'll get bored of being homeless and just stop. Right, okay. I've got a lot of problems with that, but let's move on to the next issue. What about all these multi-billion-pound corporations who aren't paying any taxes? Not my fucking problem. I can just continue cutting public services, that's working fine. Maybe next Christmas the chairmen of these companies will be visited by 3 ghosts and haunted into changing their minds. But up until that point, I will just privatise anything that makes it possible for poor people to live. Okay, third final problem. The unemployment rate of 18 to 25-year-olds right now is incredibly high, and also they're in vast amounts of debt that it will take well over half of their lives to actually be able to come near to paying it off. What do you plan to do with this? Now I've actually got a solution for this one. What we do, right, to stop all these 18 to 25-year-olds being unemployed is, what we do is we wait 8 years, and then they won't be unemployed 18 to 25-year-olds anymore, they'll be unemployed 26 to 32-year-olds! I think with this problem, just like my wife's orgasms, I'll let it sort itself out. Okay, that's a bit of a low blow to admit. Some of you might be thinking, okay, I don't agree with David Cameron, but it's a bit of a low blow to assume that David Cameron is bad in bed. I mean, have you ever slept with him? And the answer is no, I have standards. I know he's bad in bed for a fact, ladies and gentlemen. This is true. I genuinely believe that David Cameron is shit in bed. You know why I think that? Well, he didn't suck that fucking pig's cock, did he? I'm a very open-minded individual. I don't mind what you want to put your dick in. You, sir, if you want to put your dick in that candle holder, you put your dick in that candle holder. I'm not going to judge you for what you want to put your dick in. What I will judge you for is if you're prepared to put your genitals into someone's mouth and not want to put their genitals in your mouth, you are a bastard. I'm not talking about animals face fucking the Prime Minister. When are we going to give foxes muskets? When are we going to give foxes muskets? Maybe you read them. We train foxes to use muskets, and they can invite into Parliament on Labour MPs and hunt the Conservatives for sport. Wonderful.
It's the Tories.
We haven't got any Tory voters here, we're no good. There you are. What's your name, sir? Jason, ask him. My dad was called Peter. So, Jason, you know when you're going up clubbing with your homies, yeah? And then you run into a giant fire-breathing winged reptile, right? All on a stand-up comedy, always relate to your audiences. You run into a giant fire-breathing winged reptile, right? Who's wearing a pair of stilettos on a corset and some lipstick and some mascara. Do you reckon that particular reptilian species refers to that behaviour as getting their drag on? Yeah, I do jokes like that. But, you said, Jason, was it? You look like a proper lad, you know? Right, yeah, I think I want to have a conversation, lad to lad right now, so, women, eh? Oh, what are they all about? Fucking women coming over here with their woman brains, doing the woman parts, going, ooh, look at me, I'm a woman, my jeans don't have pockets. There's only 3 things women are good for, are sitting on our penises, sucking our penises, and Tetris. What? It's not sexist. I can't be sexist. Some of my best friends are black. So, I'm glad you appreciate the irony of that, because I was about ready to get murdered. I'm a feminist, so I can identify as a feminist, and I think that if you do identify as a feminist, you are essentially a good person. For ages, I've always supported gender equality, but for a while I was shy to admit I was a feminist because of all the social stigma attached to it. Like I was worried that if I started telling my friends I was a feminist, they'd be all like, "What? You're a feminist? Well, you support equal rights between all the genders?" Man, that's so gay. Hey, Steve, you're Jonathan, he's a feminist. What, you're a feminist? Oh my god. Hey mate, if you love women so much, why don't you just marry one? Told that to get. I came to realise that being a feminist is essentially being a good person, right? And if you don't support equality between the genders, then it's difficult to think of a word horrible enough to describe you. Right? Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'm fully open to the idea that everyone is entitled to their own point of view, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, just in the same way that everyone is entitled to be wrong. I appreciate the round of applause. If we do it after every line, we're going to be here for hours. I really just tell you to stop applauding me? No, boost my ego. Because I'm quite a sweary person, so my instant reaction to call people who don't support gender equality is a cunt. But the thing is, cunts, if you treat them right, are actually very warm and welcoming, aren't they? Very pleasant to be around. And even arseholes seem like too nice for work, because yes, arseholes are full of shit a lot of the time, but they do perform a very valuable function within humanity. So what I decided to call these people is appendixes. There's no reason for them to be in us. All they ever do is cause pain and premature death, and we must get off if they were just surgically removed. I'm a transvestite, if you hadn't noticed. I'm not transgender though, and I like performing to these kind of gigs because I don't have to explain the difference. Because I usually perform doing like transvestite, not transgender. I thought they were the same thing. No, they're not the same thing. There's a very key thing about they're different words. Just because they share the first 5 letters doesn't make them the same thing. You don't put this into transport, do you? I am a transvestite, I'm not transgender. For a while I thought I was transgender, then I realised it's really fucking expensive. Let's have a quick cheer for that if there are any transgender people in the audience. Fantastic. Right, this bit I'm doing now is very pro-transgender, but I just want to point out that I've never experienced what you're experiencing right now. I think you're very brave people, and I'm doing material that is very pro-you, but if I have got any of the details wrong, because I've just researched it, I haven't lived it, please afterwards do feel free to tell me, because the last one I'll be doing is spreading misinformation. But this has a brilliant punchline, so just let it go. Meant to be a joke, I'm just genuinely serious. But I did some research, right, and I found out that putting all the medical costs aside, the amount it costs to apply for a gender reassignment certificate from the government, essentially to get to recognise you as the gender that you are, is £140. Right? That's a hefty fucking admin fee to change one box on a spreadsheet. Yeah. It makes me question why. I mean, put that to perspective here, £140, that's 520 Freddos. 660 if Tesla's got a 5 for 4 offer on. But it's a question though, £140 for a gender reassignment certificate. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend that kind of money on something I can't fuck. I've tried before, yeah, horrible paper cuts. It does make you question why it is so difficult for transgender people just to be recognised legally as the gender that they are inside. And there was this article about 6 months ago. This was topical when I wrote it, I promise. There was an article about 6 months ago about the people who are in charge of this whole kind of thing. Because there's this big campaign to try and get to make it easier for transgender people to just be able to change their gender legally, rather than to go through all this bullshit. And the guy said they were reluctant to do it because, and I quote, "If people can just change their gender at will, that will result in social consequences." Right? It's genuine. Yeah, how delightfully vague is that? Do you care to elaborate on what exactly you mean by social consequences? You mean it's like a bunch of employers all over the country going, well, if we allow people just to change their gender at will, then how will we know who to pay less? As a transvestite, I face different problems. I face problems that I imagine all of you will have experienced at some point. And people often shout at me on the street. It's generally the worst I get. Even on the way here, I had someone shout at me. He said, "Oi, mate!" He didn't sound like that. There's literally no way I can impersonate his voice without sounding incredibly racist. "Oi, mate! Wow, you're ugly for a woman!" Now, I don't know how to take that, because on the surface, that sounds like an insult, but if you think about it, I am a man, and the phrase, "wow, you're ugly for a woman," implies that I'm quite beautiful as a man. It's almost a backhanded insult, that really, isn't it? It's happened before as well. I genuinely had this one guy once say to me, he said, "Mate, if you were a woman, I would not fuck you." So what I said was, well, good thing I'm not a woman then, so, my place. You do get a lot of people shouting abuse at you, and you kind of learn how to deal with it. And the way that I started dealing with it is by amplifying my masculinity when I'm dressed like this in order to intimidate whatever the perceived threat may be. I'll give you an example. Right? Say I'm in a pub dressed like this, drinking on my own, which I do far more often than I'm proud of, really. I'm just sitting there enjoying my pint, then out of nowhere, this skinhead geezer comes in through the door. Well, through the door, not out of nowhere, really. That was unnecessary, wasn't it? He comes in through the door and he catches my eye and he gives me a look which quite clearly says, "I don't agree with your life choices." As soon as I get a pint, I'm going to confront you about said life choices. So what I did then, before he could confront me, I was in there. Bam! I stood up, I downed about a third of my plate of mixed fruit Copperberg, and it stopped because I started to feel bloated. Then I went right up to him and go, mate, what the fuck do you think you're looking at? Right, you want to go? Do you want to go? You want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fucking fight? I will fucking have you, mate. And he's all like, yeah, right, then we'll have a fight. I'm going to take this outside. And I was all like, I was not expecting you to accept. Because I don't know what's off from bed, if you convincing aggressive Cockney accent, ladies and gentlemen, but I can't fight for shit. So I had a plan B, had a backup plan, and I urge any of you to try this if you're ever in a situation where you're about to get into a fight which you know you're going to lose. Basically, what you do, right, is you look the offending party dead in the eye, take a deep breath, and say, "Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, play in the street, you're gonna be a big man someday, you got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your cat all over the place, singing, we will rock you, come on, whatevers, we will rock you." This is a fact of science, ladies and gentlemen. There's nobody can hear those lyrics without their limbs immediately going. Thus, even though I'm relatively ineffectual for hand-to-hand combat, if you're free to punch them in the face and make your escape. Try it, it does work. I've never tried it myself, that was just a story of common effect. But of the 0 times I have tried it, I've had a 100% success rate. So, come on, fucker. So, I quite enjoy sex. It's definitely one of my favourite things to do with my penis. Aside from painting it blue, drawing a face on the table, putting wheels on the shaft and pretending it's a stunt double for Thomas the Tank Engine. Apart from that, I do like sex. But no, I don't say I like sex. I just have a bit of a slut, doesn't it? I'm not a slut. I can't be a slut. Some of my best friends are black. You could call me a slut, and you'd be very right. I am a slut, and I don't consider that a bad thing. Slut shaming has gotten to a point where it just baffles me. Like if you're a man who will call women sluts for being sexually active, that tells me 2 things about your personality right away. 1, you're a misogynist, and 2, you can't get laid. It baffles me, because I've known men who will call women sluts if the said woman refuses to sleep with him. And how does that work logically? I'm married, fancy a shag? Oh no, I'm alright, thank you. Oh, you must be a slut! No, that's not how any of this works. And it makes you question, do they apply this logic to other aspects of their life? Just going up to people in the street going, "Excuse me, have you got the time?" "Oh no, I don't, I'm afraid, sorry." "Oh, you must be a clock!" Let's go into the swimming pool going, "Excuse me, have you got any heroin?" "No, I don't, this is a swimming pool." "Oh, you must be a drug dealer." "Hey, Jonathan, do you have an ending to this routine?" "Oh, no, I don't, I'm afraid, sorry." "Oh, you must be a fantastic comedian." I think I'll finish up now just by talking a bit about my own sexuality. It won't be too long. I do tend to waffle a lot, so thank you for enduring this. I am bisexual myself, and a lot of LGBT comedians will have some sort of hilarious story about them coming out to their parents. I don't, and the reason for that is I never came out to my parents. They do know I'm bisexual. I've had an incident in front of them. They've got me on Snapchat. They've seen the photos. But we never kind of had that one-on-one kind of, "Hey, guess what, Mum, I like cock" kind of conversation. And I don't know if it's just me, because I do appreciate that for a lot of people, coming out to their parents is a very important part of their child-parent relationship. But just to me, the whole idea of coming out seems really fucked up. Because when I picture a gay person coming out to their parents, I picture a scene that goes something like this. "Mum, Dad, there's something really important I need to confide in you, and it's not going to be easy for me, but I'm just going to come out and say it. Rather than putting my penis into women's vaginas for sexual pleasure, I prefer to put it into other men's bottoms. Or for them to put their penis in my bottom, I'm flexible. But, I just thought that you should know that is the only way that your son, who you gave birth to, is able to achieve orgasm." is by having lots of hot, kinky bum fun with other men. At which point the parents say something along the lines of, "Oh right, yes I see, well thank you very much for telling us. We're aware that your mother and I love you no matter what, but here's the thing. We are actually eating at the moment. If I had kids, I wouldn't want to know all this shit to do with their sexuality. I mean, don't get me wrong, I made kids from a young age, I don't mind who or what they do with their penis and or vagina, just as long as everyone involved is consensual, and if they're going to put their cock in a dead pig's mouth, they'll at least have the curse of 69. It just baffles me, if you're anything other than straight, you're expected to tell your parents essentially how it is you like to have sex. And does no one else find this massively fucked up? You don't have any other kinks or fetishes, do you? My friend Mary never had that awkward conversation with her parents. Mum, Dad, there's something I really need to tell you. It's not going to be easy for me, but I really think you need to know this. I'm massively into water sports. And I'm not talking about Tom Daly diving. No. I'm talking about Tom Daly getting his cock out and pissing in my mouth. And if I had a son and he told me he was gay, I genuinely would not know what to do with that information. I'd just be like, what, you're gay? Okay, well, why are you telling me? I mean, I'm not gonna fuck you. What do you want me to do with that? You've been an absolute delight. I've enjoyed it.